Hello everyone, welcome to my video. Today I'll be drawing this giraffe with very funny face expression. I really enjoy drawing and painting animals. And one of my most favorite animal to paint or draw is a giraffe. Well, to be exact, a giraffe's face. I once made a painting of a whole giraffe and to be honest, I didn't exactly like it. Maybe because I took the photo from the wrong angle, but the painting looked quite flat. However, a giraffe's face is completely different story. Giraffes have many interesting shapes on their faces. They have huge ears, huge eyes, very long tongue. They also have horns and this funny little bump on their forehead. So they inspire me a lot and they make a great reference for a drawing. For this drawing, I decided to use Pitt Graphite Matt pencils from Faber-Castell. Because these pencils don't produce shine, especially when filming, they became my favorite quite fast. However, pencils are not my only medium that I use for this drawing. Recently I watched a lot of YouTube videos where people use actual charcoal, compressed charcoal or willow charcoal for their drawings, so I wanted to give it a go as well. So I got myself a couple charcoal pencils from Conte Paris, or Paris, however you pronounce it. For the background that I'm doing at the moment, I'm using Fussain charcoal in 2B. Fussain charcoal is quite easy to blend using the blending stump or a brush. You can very easily soften the edges or the marks that you make. I'm also using Fussain charcoal on darker areas on Giraffe's face. And now, to get those super dark blacks, I decided to go ahead with Pierre Noir 2B pencil. I think this is what is called a Conte crayon in black, just in the form of a pencil. Here you can see how dark Pierre Noir actually is. It truly looks like you have just added a bit of a black hole into your drawing. The depth you can achieve with this stuff is just remarkable. On the other hand, I had a little bit of a problem controlling those charcoal pencils. I have only used graphite pencils in the past for my drawings, and compared to graphite, charcoal is so much more difficult to control. Maybe because it is much softer and the sharp point doesn't hold for too long. It also doesn't fill up the tooth of a paper too well, unless you use a blending stump to push the pigment into the paper. So, summarizing, my first impression with using these charcoal pencils is mixed. On one hand, I really enjoy using them. These pencils are really well made, they are quite thick. You can see that they are really well made and they are quality product. The pigment in these pencils is really good, especially Pierre Noir one in 2B. This is the darkest black I've ever seen in a pencil. So it allows you to achieve much darker tones than any other pencil I know. On the other hand, I find these charcoal pencils quite difficult to control. They are not as precise as graphite pencils, and they don't hold sharp point for as long. In order for these charcoal pencils to fill up the pores of the paper, you must press it down with something like, for example, with blending stump. So I'm thinking maybe I'll keep using charcoal, like for example Fussain charcoal for the backgrounds, and maybe I will keep using Pierre Noir just for the details. But then using it for the details is gonna be quite tricky because you cannot control it that much. So I'm a bit confused. I think I need to find a proper way of using these products in my work. Here is the finished piece. Please let me know in the comments below what you think about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time!